Praise Him. This is your man Raleighall, and what's cooking? We have such an extraordinary show for you today. One of the better things in life is bringing folk together. And I have an extraordinary guest, someone that I've known for the last several years, and I'm ecstatic to have him on the show. He came to me with this recipe, and I know it's a quick pick up and go. Just for you brothers out there, and ladies, take note, because it's from his wife. Listen, I'm gonna introduce y'all to a special guest chef today on the program. His name is none other than Scott Grimm-Lyon. Welcome, Scott Grimm-Lyon, please.
Hey.
Praise Him.
Good to see you, Mr. Hall. Very nice to see you again.
Oh my goodness.
Always a pleasure.
I'm glad to have you on the show
Thank
today.
you.
Thank you for accepting our
Yeah,
offer.
no, this is great. It's great to be here. Great to be part of the community. We at GatewayJFK, we serve the business community and the residential community here in Southeast Queens. And just any way we can get our message out and let people know we're out here, and love to talk to you, and of course share great food and fellowship.
Well, there's nothing better in this kitchen than sharing great food and sharing it with you. What you know and what you don't know, Scott Grimm-Lyon is the director of GatewayJFK. And he's graced us here today to show us another skill. Not only does he monitor the businesses of this community and the residents so that we cohesively have a great landscape of harmony in this community. However, he also mans the kitchen, and that's what's cooking. All right, so we're gonna get at this recipe. What's the recipe today?
Sure, today we're making a coconut chicken curry salad. So it's like a chicken salad like you get in a deli or something like that.
Okay.
But we're using coconut milk instead of mayonnaise. Coconut milk, my wife dislikes mayonnaise, so she came up with this recipe kind of as an alternative to your traditional chicken salad. And it's great because coconut milk has this great stuff, this coconut cream, which when you cook it, very simply with just some onions and some chicken, it gets really creamy and smooth, and it makes a great spreadable curry that you can put on top of sandwiches, you can put on top of a salad, you can do everything you want with it. Yeah.
Wow, that's so like tuna fish or a nice spread.
Right, great, right, perfect, just like that, a nice spread, just like a tuna salad.
Okay.
I eat a lot during picnics, I eat a lot over the summer, but it's also the kind of dish where you can make it the week in advance and then just have yourself a bunch of lunches for the rest of the week. Or if you got kids, that's a great way to minimize the amount of work to give them something good and not too, pretty healthy for during the rest of the week.
Nutritional.
Yeah, nutritional for the rest of the week instead of just all the fast food stuff. Yeah.
So I'm amazed, y'all, because this is my first time opening up a can of coconut milk, and I thought this was some kind of Jello. And right here, I thought this was cottage cheese. You got one on me if you knew about that. And I'm following this man. I'm so glad to have him. Well, we're gonna get at it. Where do we start?
Sure. First thing first, we just dice an onion up into real small bits. Then we're gonna chop up our chicken into also cubes, and then we just cook everything right on the stovetop. It's good and simple.
So we have these ingredients. Why don't you share with us what the ingredients are?
Sure, really simple recipe. We've only got a few things. We'll start with a pound of chicken breast from Key Food Fresh. We can get that right here. And we also have simple, yellow onion. Just chop that up, a medium size. Doesn't have to be fancy. You can use whatever onion you want, really. It's just gonna be cooking. What'll eventually happen is we'll cook it up in our coconut water. So what happens is when you open up a can of coconut milk, if you leave it in the fridge for a minute, it'll do it naturally too, but the coconut cream and the coconut water will separate from each other. You can speed that up a little bit by putting that in the fridge. And then you open up the can, and it's easier if you do it from the bottom of the can, actually. You crack open the bottom of the can, you can drain out this watery part, and then you can just fish out with a spoon all the rest of this creamy part on the top. And we just add those at 2 different points in the recipe. You don't have to do that. You can just throw the whole can in and just cook it on the stovetop a little bit longer. It'll still come out good, but I find that the texture's a lot better if you do it this way.
Nice, nice. Well, I learned something. and I'm looking forward to getting the rest of the ingredients. So where do we go from here?
Pretty simple. We just start dicing everything up, and then we assemble it all on the stovetop.
Sounds good. Why don't you get at it? I'll take a break from my skills with the onion and hand them over to you.
All right, great. So cutting an onion isn't very hard. Just gotta trim it in half. Just gotta get the skin off of it. You just cut it a little like that. You know, you just get some small cuts, just like that. There you go. Everything's nice and diced, everything's nice and simple. Rough chop a little bit. Make sure these edges get cut.
Woo woo!
Just put that right in. No need to cry, Mr. Hall.
I can't help it. All right, listen, we'll be right back after these messages. I gotta get myself together. All right, praise up. That's what's cooking. Have an onion on me, okay? All right, y'all. I think I'm better. Thank you, Scott.
Yeah, I know. You can get a little emotional around onions.
Very emotional when onions are around.
Onions actually, not so bad if you have some fire next to them. It actually burns off some of those things that make you cry. We're gonna light a fire right now.
Cool.
We're gonna get the pan hot. We're gonna put it up on sort of a medium-high heat. And we're gonna just start really simple. We're gonna put some olive oil in our pan, just so our onions don't stick. And if it shimmers a little bit like that, you know you're ready.
Nice.
And you get your pan nice and ready. Now, these don't need to cook too long. The whole thing with the onions is you just want to get them a little bit softer and a little bit sweeter on their own here. The first thing we're going to do is we're going to be adding now this coconut water. This you want to let sit and bring up to a little bit of a boil. If that doesn't, you can speed it up a little bit by turning it to high for a minute. You don't want it to just cook around the edges. You want it to cook in the middle. Get it to a boil, and then when that really gets rolling, you want to turn that down a little bit, back down to medium, and let it simmer. We're really trying to cook a lot of this liquid off.
Gotcha.
We're cooking the onions in this liquid. It's going to sweeten up the onions, and it's going to get rid of the watery part that'll, in the end, make the chicken salad, creamier because we're getting rid of the watery part of the thing. So we're going to cook this down again. It's going to take just 5 minutes or so. But the thing I like about this recipe is while this is cooking, while this is at a simmer, you got to pay a little bit of attention to it, stir it every once in a while, because we're just cooking all that water off. We can do other things, and what we need to do next on our list is prep the chicken.
Let's cut at it now.
All right.
All right, thanks.
So while the onions are cooking on the stove back here, we're going to keep them in a nice simmer. That coconut water is going to reduce. It's going to boil down a little bit. We're going to have a few minutes. We want to keep our eye on that and stir it a little bit, but we can take this time to really prepare our chicken. So could you start us out by washing up chicken and getting it ready for us?
I got to wash the chicken. I thought you were the chef, right? Really? All right, I'll wash the chicken. All right, that feels good to me.
Sounds good. All right, so, this is just one big breast. You can get multiple sizes. If you want to double this recipe, if you got a really big pan, you can do that too. You can cut it basically whatever size you want. This is the kind of recipe where if you're putting it on a sandwich or something like that, cutting really big slices is fine. If you're cutting something, maybe you're serving it at a party as part of a platter or something like that.
Like a dip?
A dip, yeah, that would be perfect actually. You can make a little dip out of it. Then you cut it into smaller cubes. But we're gonna put together a wrap today.
Cool.
And so I like these 1/4-inch size cubes, just kind of get the chicken cut up, just about the size of a cube of dice. And just, doesn't have to be pretty, doesn't have to be perfect, doesn't have to be super consistent. Just get it all up, get it together, and then you end up with exactly what we need.
Cubes.
Cubes, yeah, as long as they're about all the same size,
Nice.
they'll cook about the same level, and it doesn't take that long for them to cook up. All right.
Where do we go from now?
Yeah, now we're ready to just put this in the pan.
Okay, let's do
right.
it. Wow, now that the chicken's prepped, let's get at this here. What's next?
So we have taken, you can see that that water has really reduced away from our onions here. That's gotten nice and creamy. All that flavor of the coconut milk has been drunk up by the onions, and the onions have gotten nice and sweet.
Nice.
Different cans of coconut milk are going to have different amount of water versus a different amount of coconut jelly or coconut cream, and that's just going to depend on the brand, and that's fine. You find what works for you, find what's available in your local area, and it's great. So what we do next is we just add the chicken and we add basically all the rest of our ingredients, and we let it cook. So with the chicken here, you just want to make sure you're not splashing any hot stuff onto you. And then this is about 3 tablespoons of curry powder. Again, it's just to taste. And then salt, of course, because we got to salt the chicken. So, you know, a couple of pinches of salt or a few shakes if something doesn't have that much in it, but you want to make sure we get it there. You see the chicken just starts to
it's cooking
cook
up
on one side already.
Sure.
Just give it a couple stirs, break it up, get some of the onions up and in between it. And what really happens is we're going to melt all this coconut jelly on top of it, and that'll form a nice cream sauce that will all just cook up in. Nice and creamy, like you just put a bunch of half and half in there, because it doesn't break like a lot of dairy does, because it's it's a vegetable dairy. So, and, again, we're just going to bring that up to a little bit of a simmer. A simmer is just when you get some slight bubbles on it. That's going to be enough to just stew the chicken. It really just at this point is just letting it sit, giving it a couple stirs, and depending upon the size of the chunk of chicken that you cut, waiting until it cooks through.
Okay. Now, do we want to cover that at all, or?
You can cover it, but I think it'll probably cook a little faster if you cover it. But with this, the water you'll lose a little bit more water every time you get a little bit of a boil like this. And the end product, that just gives you like a creamier, thicker dish at the end.
Well, I'd like to thank Key Food Fresh for nothing but the best of poultry.
So what you want to do is just to make sure everything is done and ready, we want to take, probably just pull out a fork here. Let's check one of your bigger pieces. This needs just another minute or so. It's still cooking.
Okay, so we just check as you go along.
Just check as you go along. But once the chicken is all cooked through, then it's safe for tasting.
Okay.
And what I like to do is I like to taste it, see if it needs more curry powder, see if it needs a little more salt. And then, if you're the type who likes it spicy, I add a little cayenne pepper. Then you remove it from the heat, and then you can add in all the mix-ins. So earlier I was saying, you can add dried fruit, you can add nuts. I brought us some of these dried cranberries here today, and we're going to put them inside once we pull it off.
Dried cranberry. So I noticed that it's getting brown, that the chicken is browning and the spices, and it's like actually getting into the chicken. I mean, this smells great.
Well, I mean, look, this is the kind of dish that right now you could just put it over some rice and eat it, and it would be great just right now. But I tell you, if you put it in the refrigerator overnight, that's where the magic happens. That's when all the flavors all come together, and everything mingles, and they just become really good friends, and it becomes a really great spreadable sandwich option for you.
I'm a total fan of leftovers. Yet with this, I'm thinking about, let's make some rice, because I'm definitely want to eat this hot out the skillet.
Well, you know what? That's a perfectly good option. You want to make something big like this? I don't know if you got a small family. I don't know if it's just you at home alone, but you do this, you have a nice rice dish for tonight, and then you got sandwiches for yourself for the rest of the week.
Nice.
And I definitely want to add some of this cayenne pepper.
Definitely.
You like it spicy?
Not too spicy.
All right. Well, just give it a pinch.
Okay.
Because this stuff is pretty strong.
Oh, Lord.
And if you're putting in something like this, the dried fruit, you can just do it right now while it's hot. It'll actually, like I said, add to that flavor.
I totally agree.
You'll be able to throw in some additional It'll soak up some of the sauce a little bit when you cook it.
I totally agree.
But if you're using something like I said before, my mother added just grapes she's cut in half. You want to wait until the next day to add that because until it's cooled down a little bit, so it's not quite so hot.
So regular green grapes, like seedless grapes.
Yep, seedless grapes. Yep.
Nice.
Yep, and it just adds a little bit of color and flavor and deliciousness to this whole thing. All right, and that's basically it. We take this off here, put it in a bowl, and stick it in the fridge, and I'll show you what we did. I made some up earlier for us to have, and we can try it later.
Sounds great.
Yeah.
Thanks. Well, we'll be right back after these messages. Praise Him. And that's what's cooking. Praise Him, and we're back. You know, if you've been watching the show at any length, that it is our practice when we have a guest, we have the wishing well. We invite our guests to have a wish from the well. And so today's show, we are blessed and privileged to have Scott Grimm-Lyon in our abode and in this kitchen here as a guest. Scott, would you please help yourself to a wish today?
Sure, thank you. Let's see.
From our home to yours, hit it.
When you have little, much less is thought of having all. When you have little, much less is thought of having all. When you share a little, much more will be had by all. When you have a little, much less is thought of having all. When you share a little, much more will be had by all.
So true. What do you say?
Sounds right. Hey, I'd like to share some food with you right now.
Well, I'm looking forward to it. Please do. And all of you who are watching, this year, this new year, share what little you have. So much more can be had by all who greet and eat at your table. All right, so let's get at it. Scott, I just wanted to thank you. That was a well wish.
Oh, yeah, it's very, very good. It's interesting, gives you something to think about. It's a nice tradition you have with your guests here.
Yeah, thank you. Well, thank you for being a guest on our show, and I can't wait to get into this.
No problem, anytime. Yeah, I know you're hungry, so.
Yeah, so, tell us how we do the wrap here.
Sure, it's real simple. First of all, I just want to say, so we saw it when it was hot and when it just come out cooking, but what you'll notice is if you take a look at it when you bring it out of the fridge the next day or after just a couple of hours of sitting in the fridge, all that coconut cream really thickens up and you end up with this nice spreadable chicken curry.
Nice.
It's really nice. The point is to spread it on top of some bread, spread it on top of, like I said, crackers if you cut it up super fine. Or in this case, I've made ourselves a nice little wrap for us to have for dinner. So, I don't know, wraps are pretty simple. It's just basic burrito shells. You can buy fancier ones with, sun-dried tomatoes or spinach or whatever in them. But this is just the basic stuff. Just keep it simple. Get a little bit of pre-washed salad from the grocery store, and you can stick your stuff on it. And wrapping a wrap is real simple.
Now this looks like
fold it in half. Go ahead. What?
This looks like spinach. Not spinach, but
this is a spring mix from the grocery store.
Oh, I see.
Spring mix. Yeah. So it's a mix. You got a little
of lettuce,
mesclun in here, and a little bit of lettuce. Yeah, but. It's better than that iceberg lettuce, which is really just kind of water, and it's nice and crisp, and it's good sometimes.
Yeah.
But this gives you like a little bit of body and makes you.
And
feel
it has
like
some
you're being
nutrition
healthy.
to it too. Right?
Absolutely, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so
help
green
is good for you. Just wrap it up here, fold at the edges.
Okay. Right.
Tuck it under, and just eat.
Well, you can do this one. Because I know how to eat. Listen, y'all, this has been such a wonderful experience. And it's that time, my favorite part of every show. Here you go. Cheers.
Cheers.
Cheers. I'm going to smack your mama too. This is good. You know what? I'm gonna smack his wife and her mother. This is so good, y'all. You can't do without this. Brothers, get the recipe. This is your man, Raleighall. Thanks so much, Scott, for coming.
Cheers.
Cheers.
You're welcome. Happy to have you.
Praise him, and that's what's cooking. To reserve your copy of the What's Cooking theme song, subscribe, comment, and request on either What's Cooking Facebook or YouTube channels. All rights reserved for Hallmarks Music Incorporated. What's Cooking kitchenware provided by Fadeaway Apparel. What's Cooking would like to thank the courtesies of Bed Bath & Beyond, Store 467, and the courtesies of Key Food Fresh, Jamaica, Queens.